Now, in the case of the Congo in particular today, I argue that the Congo, more than any other country, needs substantive rule of law reforms. And I'll tell you why I think so. Someone can say, no, but China has been able to do what they are doing without opening up politically, but my contention is that, again, that is not sustainable. I may not be right, but it may take a few years to prove me wrong. It may take a number of years to prove me wrong, but I suspect in the long, long term, you cannot hold people who especially start amassing some wealth under subjugation for a very long time. They will ask for more because it is the nature of human beings to ask for liberty. That's my true conviction. So for the case of Congo in particular, Congo cannot do without the substantive reforms that you would need to have true rule of law. And this is why. Congo is a very big country and very diverse country. In a diverse environment like the Congo, oppression cannot last very long because you cannot expect unanimity of behavior across those diverse regions, those diverse populations. Somebody somewhere will revolt, and somebody somewhere will question what you are doing. So in a diverse environment like the Congo, you cannot expect unanimity of view. Of course, you have to be able to accommodate contradictions, to accommodate differences of opinion. And only a system that accommodates freedom of opinion, of expressions, can work in a country, again, as diverse as the Congo. There is no way in between to say Congo can play the game that, say, China can play, where you can do just a little bit of liberty to do economic things, but no political freedoms. Congo cannot get away with that. It just will not work because things will explode given the nature of the country. And secondly, the other reason for Congo, Congo has to embrace global general reforms that go deep, is the legacy of the country. The country has a strong history with strong men, being governed by strong men. In another talk last year, I made the point that there are few things that are constant about the Congo. Many things change, but very few are constant. And two of them are governance by strong men and the Congo River. Congo River is always there. It never goes anywhere. It's beautiful, flowing, constant flow into the ocean. It's there. The second constant, strong man. King Leopold, strong man. Mobutu, strong man. They don't all end very well. Kabila, another strong man. The father. That's the history of the country. To go ahead, we need stronger institutions to take the place of these strong men, because that is what can last. Strong men do not prepare their replacement. They think they never will go away. Strong institutions will last. They will last very long. So Congo needs strong institutions, not strong men. So that's the second reason why I think Congo has no choice but to go the route of deep structural reforms, not just formalistic reforms that touch on the surface of rule of law. It should go deep, deep, deep in the substance of rule of law to make a dent in the country's fight against poverty and encourage development. And the size of the country is the other element, which kind of touches up with the diversity element. So what would Congo get out of structural reforms that encourage the rule of law and in its substantive sense? First, it will give better protection for fundamental freedoms. Without the rule of law, there is no serious, respectable judge you can go in front of to ask for your rights to be protected. You need an impartial judge to protect your right. You need an impartial court to fight corruption, especially at the highest level of government. And without fighting corruption at the highest level of government, it will be very hard to build sustainable economic development in the Congo. And thirdly, you need these reforms, the rule of law reforms in the Congo and substantive change, in order to establish a counterweight within the country to the power of multinational corporations. Let me expound on this point for a moment. After the independence of the 60s, newly independent countries in the UN pushed through a statement, a declaration on permanent sovereignty over natural resources. Basically, countries wanted it to be known that every country is always going to be sovereign over its natural resources. Nobody ever will have the power to take it away from them. Each country is sovereign on a permanent nature over its natural resources. That is today, that is an accepted rule of customary international law. So every country can assert sovereignty over its natural resources. And that principle has implications on the contracts that countries sign with international companies and so forth, because they can come back and say, well, I don't like that contract anymore, and I'm changing it, and I will pay you back, or not. And then they get sued, of course, more and more. But the idea is countries maintain their sovereignty over the natural resources. And the only way a country can protect its sovereignty over its natural resources is by having an impartial judiciary, by having a system governed by the rule of law. Because with that, the country can protect the resources, not only from predatory cooperation from outside, but from predators from within the country. You would have an impartial defender of the natural wealth, not just the government, not just the well-connected in the government. And Congo, more than any other country, as you know, needs such a judiciary, needs such an independent, strong judiciary to defend its interest over its natural resources. Without that judiciary, without that kind of institutional strength, Congo will not be able to defend its interest against multinational corporations and against the predators within the country. Why? Because these corporations are more and more wealthier, stronger than the countries in which they function. When you hear a corporation reporting their quarterly result and telling you that they made $5 billion in a quarter of profit, not revenues, think for a moment. That is more than the budget of quite a few African countries. That's their quarterly profit. Now, when they come to do business with you, country small, or country with a weak institution, what is your bargaining power? What do you stand on to bargain with these powerful institutions? So Congo needs a solid judiciary. Congo needs an independent judiciary, an impartial judiciary, in order to defend its interest over its natural resources. The other reason why these reforms are important for Congo especially is an independent judiciary will also help protect the environment in the Congo. Without an independent judiciary, it will be difficult to enforce environmental rules against the powerful. In a country that depends on natural resource exploitation, you need strong environmental rules and strong enforcement of environmental rules to go with natural resource exploitation. Canada is a very fine example of a balance between heavy natural resource exploitation and very good, solid environmental laws. Their logging laws are among the most strict in the world, and yet they are among the biggest producers of timber in the world. They have tried to find a good equilibrium, strong institutions to enforce environmental rules. And Congo, as a natural resource-driven economy, needs those institutions in order to protect its environment. And for Congo, more than any other country, environmental degradation could mean disaster for the country. Congo is fed by its forest, which, as you know, is the second largest rainforest in the world after the Brazilian forest. Congo depends on that forest. Why? The small rivers that cross the forest feed the mighty Congo River, which send into the ocean a steady flow of water, and that flow of water powers the Inga Dam, a hydroelectric power dam built on the Congo River, and will power other power dams that Congo is planning to build to send electricity across many other African countries. You destroy the rainforest, you destroy the Congo River, and you destroy the Congolese economy with it, because Congo will not have electricity it needs, or at least dependable electricity that it can get to power its economic development. So, sustainable development in Congo really, really means strong environmental enforcement paired with economic development activities. It has to go hand in hand, and only strong judicial institutions, strong rules would provide that kind of balance. And for Congo, there is no choice, there's no trying to run away from these requirements. So basically, I will end by saying that however you define the rule of law, whether you ascribe to the minimalist definition or the more substantive definition, it is important for economic development at the minimum. And I argue that for the Congo in particular, it is essential. It is even a prerequisite for getting real, lasting, sustainable development in the Congo. And without it, without those type of reforms, Congo cannot realize its potential that we all would like to see one day. Well, thank you, and I will take questions.